Good morning, everyone. Once again, we are gathering together via the internet using our YouTube station to post today's service as we end the month of March. And we'll soon be in spring. Well, we are in spring now and celebrating the month of April. And as you know, the birth of Shakyamuni Buddha will be celebrated in the month of April. But today we are conducting our regular Sunday service, and I want to thank you for tuning in. I hope you're doing all well. I'd like to begin with an opening reading. If you'll please join me in Gasho. Adjust my camera just a little bit. There we go. Although I take refuge in the true pure land way, it is hard to have a true and sincere mind. This self is false and insincere. I completely lack a pure mind. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. And now I'd like to ask you to please all follow along as I chant the Junidai, the 12 adorations. Eshu tenin shokugyo amina senryo zokuson zai me wanda kok muryo bushi shui ne onjiki shinjonyo senno shama tangyonyo zobu ryomoku jonyaku shorenge konga chonai minason Menzen Nenjonyo Mangat Iko Yunyo Senichigat Shonyo Tenku Kushina Konga Chonai Minason Kannon Chodai Kanchiujiu Shuju Me Soho Shogun Nobukuge no Makeman Konga Chonai Minason Mubi muku koshojo shutoku keuketsu nyokoku shosari yakutoku jizai konga chonai minason Jepo myomon no sashu muryo shomanyo sandan isho shujo ganrikiji konga chonai minason Hontai Hoken Chishoke 全言少女名を内座おひざ上女戦のこが将来みなそん十歩将来勝負し権限人図し安楽戦後尊厳上業こが将来みなそんしょむむにょむがとやくむに発然よろいしゅせもむみょにこが将来みなそんいそんぶ説無悪名薬無如になくのふ修任死心教非尊こが将来みなそんいそん無量法勉強無所修悪知識往生不大死亡ないこが将来みなそん多説非尊具の具事修善無変如外水小逆前言少女者平成終上昇いこなもなぶなもなぶなもなぶなもなぶなまなぶなまなぶまにしくのぐみょのせいさいどうほんぼ大心おじょあんだお何万ダブス、何万ダブス、何万ダブス。 Now I'd like to share with you the reading called The Golden Chain. I am a link in Amida's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will keep my link bright and strong. I'll be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds. May every link in Amida's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namandavas, 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 namandavas. Thank you. First of all, I would like to say that we do send our thoughts and our good wishes out to the people in Ukraine who are suffering from the ravages of war. And we implore those who are waging war to stop and practice kindness and peace. And this is what the Buddha's wishes for, you know. Our founder, Shinran Shonin, he lost both his parents at an early age, and he moved into the priesthood and became a monk on Mount Hiei, a huge monastery in the outskirts of Kyoto, Japan. It's said that there are over 3,000 monasteries on Mount Hiei alone. And Shinran Shonin endured the most difficult practices and meditations. And he did this because he saw the ravages of war. He saw the result of famine and starvation and people suffering. And his motivation, I believe, was to end suffering in the world. But these practices for 20 years on Mount Hiei came at a point where he felt he wasn't making any progress. So at the age of 29, he abandoned the method of finding enlightenment through what we call self-power, through his own personal efforts. And he placed his faith in Amida's power. That's called Tariki, or the other power. This is Amida Buddha. So Shinran, he made it possible for all of us today to understand the heart of Buddhism through the simple act of absolute faith and the Nembutsu. If he did not appear in this world, this profoundly wonderful, complex teachings of Buddhism would not have reached you and I. And this is something that we want to share with the world. It is our hope that, and this Buddha's hope, it's the wish of Shinran and countless other Buddhists, that the world live in peace, that we create a world of kindness, compassion, and understanding. I want to share with you this morning a story that comes from the Buddha. It's about two friends. A man visited his friend and they sat down and they shared liquor. They drank together. The visitor fell asleep and so did the host. And when the host woke up, his friend was still deep in sleep. He had to leave for work. He sewed then a diamond into his friend's garment and he left after giving him this gift. His friend woke up, called out to his friend who was gone to work, and no answer. They never saw each other again after this encounter. They went their separate ways. And the man with the diamond in his coat, he met with all kinds of misfortune. He fell into the depths of despair. Uh, he drank himself into a stupor every night. He lost all of his money. He was dressed in rags. And after years of this miserable life, he died. Now, this man suffered because, well, he drank too much, but he had no money. He didn't know that in the lining of his garment was this priceless diamond that was sewn in there by his friend. Now, this is a parable that the Buddha shared with his disciples. So, of course, there's symbolism here that I think you're probably getting a sense of. We are that impoverished person who died in poverty. We are spiritually impoverished. The friend who sewed in the diamond is the Buddha, or we can say Shinran. The diamond is what we call in Buddhism Buddha nature. Buddha nature is the term meaning one's original, primal, true, and real self. Now, since it's your nature, Buddha nature is always with you, although it is often hidden from our deluded eyes. And that true nature is eternal. It's always happy. It's absolute. It is pure. Not knowing that we have this is our being lost and confused, not knowing what treasures we have. Mainly, we're looking for happiness outwardly. We're looking for money, power, fame, or whatever. And this is what causes suffering. This is what causes wars and suffering. And in the end, we die like this man in the story, spiritual derelicts. Even the most powerful soon fade and wither and die. How then do we realize this Buddha nature? Well, in our tradition of Jodo Shinshu, it is the act of faith and the act of absolutely entrusting one's whole being to Amida Buddha and his primal vow, which promises to save us without condition. So when we think about this profoundly and we think about ourselves and our karmic condition, this is not such a hard thing to realize. Thinking about money, thinking about material things as a way to attain happiness seems easy, but it's difficult. It's an impossible thing to do. And why is that? Because like ice, as soon as you have it in your hand, it disappears, it melts away. And so as we end this month of March, let us all think about our fellow sentient beings who are suffering the ravages of war in Ukraine and do our best to encourage others to practice wisdom and compassion in their lives. Thank you very much. Please join me in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Thank you. And now I'd like to share with you a few announcements before we close. As we have mentioned before, and I hope you all have heard, we're going to open up our temples in Salinas, in Monterey, and in Watsonville. Now, this is very exciting that we're finally going to be opening up and we're going to be able to have in-person services. We will continue to be very careful, however, ask you wear your masks. We will be keeping distance. We will have ventilation. We'll have open, but we will be celebrating Hanamatsuri in April. So beginning on April 3rd, the Watsonville Buddhist Temple will commemorate the birth of Shakyamuni Buddha with Hanamatsuri service. Reverend Jerry Hirano of the Salt Lake Buddhist Temple will be our speaker. And that'll be at 10 a.m. on April 3rd. That same day, on April 3rd, both Monterey and Salinas will have regular Sunday services that'll be conducted by our minister's assistants. So these will be live in-person services. So I hope you'll be able to attend and support the temples in this way. And don't forget, those in Watsonville and others that may wish to, Watsonville is having a bento box fundraiser on April 16th. You can call the temple or you can submit your orders to the temple by April 4th and then pick up your bentos on April 16th. Okay. And we'll be making announcements about Monterey's Hanamatsuri service on April 10th. And on the 17th will be Salinas's Hanamatsuri celebration. Okay. Thank you very much for tuning in. Please join me in Gasho. Were I able to know evil so thoroughly that the Tathagata would recognize it as evil, then I could say I know evil. We are ordinary men, possessed of evil passions, and our world is the burning house of transiency. Hence all things are entirely empty and nonsense and not true. The Nembutsu alone is true. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. Thank you, everyone. This will conclude our service today. Please take care, and I look forward to seeing you next month in April.